Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We are here tonight on In the Loop with Lupus in Color, Lupus Live. And today we have such a great guest coming up. Her name is Shiffon Drummond, and I am not going to waste any time. I want to hear her story, and I want you to hear her story. So I'm going to bring her on up to the stream, and then we're going to get started. So hold one, hold one. We are streaming here on Facebook, YouTube, and we're trying to stream on IG as well. So just to let you all know where we're going. Hi, Chiffon.
Hi.
How are you?
You.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that you agreed to come on and tell your story.
Of course.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What's going on? What type of person are you?
Well, my name is Shiffon, as you guys know, and I live in LA. I'm from the Bronx, born and
Oh,
raised.
Bronx.
From the Bronx, and I was diagnosed with lupus 2009, and then arthritis in 2015. Uh, yeah, I basically came here 3 years ago, dropped everything in New York, and I started over. Was homeless, shelter, had to find jobs, all that stuff. Got my voucher, Section 8. Now I got my apartment. I'm working. I was a manager.
Right.
Still like living life, but that's about it.
So now when you were diagnosed with lupus, what led to that diagnosis?
Well, in the beginning, I just was having like a lot of bone problems. So my hands, I would notice, well, mainly at school, when you go write with the pen or pencil, my hand would get stuck around the pencil. So
Wow.
and it was happening more and more often. So that's why I'm just like, okay, let me tell my mom, let me let her know. So when I told her, she just like, I'm gonna take you like a regular visit just to see what's going on. And then I was referred to a rheumatologist, and then they just took a whole bunch of tests like blood work, and they said they'd give us a call back. But when they called us back, they said that I was borderline. And
Oh,
then yeah, they said I was borderline on the phone, and we came in. They said, "Oh, she actually has it." And it's like once they diagnosed me, everything just went left.
wow. It just started up like a downhill slope.
Yeah, yeah,
So how old were you when you were diagnosed again?
15.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was at the beginning of high school, so I was like the end of ninth grade, beginning of 10th grade.
So that had to be rough to
Yes.
be newly diagnosed and not be able to go. I'm sure you had in and outs of school.
Oh my God, yes. And like talking about that, I had to like finish school in the hospital. So basically, like, they had to like give me opportunity where I can finish all my work and send it in to the Board of Education. So that's
Right.
what I was doing. And I had like somebody come in my room every single day because my wrist was literally like this. So my wrist was like this, and my ankles, everything was just all messed up. So I couldn't write. So I would just read the passage and then tell the lady that's in my room the answer. She sent it to Board of Education just so that I won't be backed up and, get left back because of lupus.
Right. 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 How did you feel at 15
Yeah.
getting
Well,
lupus?
honestly, I didn't even know what lupus was. And
Right.
I did hear that my aunt had it. My aunt in Texas
Mm,
had it. And my mom always told me that she had it ever since 18 years old. So,
wow.
I never went into like, oh, mom, what was lupus? And like, what did she go through? I just heard of it and that was it. So once I heard about the lupus, I'm just thinking automatically in my head, like, I have a disease. So, and I'm just like, I'm kind of in my emotions about just having a disease. And
Right.
then lupus is just like you in for a ride. And I really was. But one thing I can say is Children's Hospital, they do treat the kids with the utmost everything. You get gifts, you got the TVs, you got all of that. But and then you get transferred over to the adult side, and it's like
Yeah.
reality. For the
It's
TV.
like you're not getting anything but this medication.
Yeah, yes, yes. So
It's
I'm
crazy.
at the hospital always.
Yeah. So and now did it take you longer to graduate, or you still graduated on time?
I still graduated on time.
There you go, girl. There
Okay.
you go.
Like lupus is not gonna stop me. That's why I was willing to go to school in the hospital. Cause
Right.
I was like, I'm not about to get left back and
Right.
already stopped a lot of things. So now for me to say I didn't graduate because of lupus is just like, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, not gonna happen, right?
If I can help
Right,
it.
right. Now, Nicole said it sounds like the same story that she has. It's amazing how we can speak to 5 different lupus warriors,
Mhm.
and somebody on that live will identify with what's going on with that lupus
Yes.
warrior. You
Mhm.
know, it's so amazing how much the similarities are and how much the differences are as well.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? How did your mom start to explain everything to your teachers, to your family? Because it started with your mom taking
Mhm.
you in, and as you grew older, you had to take on that responsibility. But how did your mom start to explain that to other people?
Well, honestly, like the way she would describe it, she would say it's like a hard pill to swallow because
Mhm.
it was something new for her that her youngest child has an illness that's not going nowhere, is no cure. So, I can honestly say like my mom just was putting it out there, because my mother is the type that once she knows something, she go all the way in with it. Like, once she know I need sunscreen, I'm not gonna get it.
You get in the case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, I needed to take my calcium. I need to eat broccoli. I need to drink water. She is not gonna. So it's just my mother was straightforward with everybody, just like letting them know what it was. But it was kind of just hard for her to have to always be in a hospital and see me as down as I was. Like I said, where it was as bad as where I can't move my wrists or my ankles, and like where I even lost my memory one time just for me
Wow.
for you. So my mom was really like emotional, just wanting to know, like, am I gonna stay like this for the rest of my life? Where I didn't remember no one, all because I had a little boil that anybody else would have. You run under some hot water, it pop, and you just go about your business. Me, it was all the way down here somewhere, and then that's when it just traveled. The bacteria, everything traveled to my brain, went to my brain, and I had to be in ICU for a couple of days. I didn't remember nothing. So it was, I know it was emotional for my mom. Like, wow,
Right.
youngest child
Yeah.
going through this.
Yeah, I'm sure it was difficult for her, but it was just as difficult for you
Yeah,
going through all that.
frustrating. Yes, frustrating because I'm just one way or one day. And then that's when I have to, I get a boil. And then it's just like I go to the hospital and I don't know anybody. I got to go on catheter. It's just a big change. And it's like, I felt like it was embarrassing, because it's new to me.
Right.
But then everybody just tell me like, like it's lupus, just, it's gonna happen. So, that's how I am now. It is what it is. That's just how I am.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because you can't be so stuck on what's going on.
Yes.
You can only look at the overcoming of it.
And how I'm gonna get
Mhm.
past it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So tell me, what was your hardest time um just trying to talk to someone to tell them that you had lupus? As at 15, you were starting to grow older and you were starting to date later on. How hard was that for you?
Honestly, in the beginning, I didn't really mention it as well. Like, I mean, as well. I didn't like, I didn't think it may sound kind of like silly, but I didn't think it was that important, because I was like younger and I just knew I had lupus, but being around a group of friends or something, and everybody's chilling, having fun, over the case and be or a sleepover, and here I go, I wake up and I got my whole thing of medicine, and like, hold on, before we go outside, so I felt like I was more kind of hiding it for a moment
Mm. Mm.
until I got to the point where it's like where lupus was like, oh, you don't want to say nothing, so I'm gonna make myself known. So
Right.
that's how I felt. And it's just like I started really thinking, like, why am I hiding it? This is me for the rest of my life. This is me. So it's just like you either gonna take me or you're gonna leave me. So it's just like, and that's how I had to really act on having lupus, and people started respect me more because of me just having the take me or leave me.
Believe me, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what happened as I started getting older. I just got to the point where it is what it is.
That's good because you could have fell into a deep depression,
Yeah.
and especially at that young age.
Yes. Yes. It's
You know,
totally.
what would you tell younger girls or boys how to handle lupus at 15? We have a lot of people that were diagnosed maybe at 11, 12, but
Yeah.
growing up with a disease is something totally different
Hmm.
than just being diagnosed.
Hmm.
What would you tell that newly diagnosed young man or young woman
Mhm.
about how to deal with the issues that might come, like teasing and bullying, things like that?
Well, first, I would just tell them, put yourself first. That's first. Because I understand the whole teasing and, like getting bullied, but they
Hmm.
understand the number one thing is stress that can really have lupus on 100. So that's what I mean by you got to put yourself first and just think about the long, like long term. So it's like if you let stuff get to you now, it's gonna get to you. It's gonna follow you. Like, it's gonna be like in your head. It's something in the back of your head. Because I know that gets to me as well. My cheeks. When I'm talking to people, I feel like they're not looking at me. They're looking at my face. They're looking at everything, like my hands. They're looking at everything but me. But I'm confident within myself. So it's just like I come first. And that's where I said I want everybody to also think that way. You either take me or you leave me
Yeah, yeah.
first. Lupus is gonna speak up, and Lupus is gonna be like, "Hey,
How you doing?
okay,
That's the truth. That's the
yeah,
truth. Some people here are saying Miss Bossy said that, wow, that's amazing how you're able to share your journey and still fighting. It is amazing. It is amazing. Being as, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
27."
Okay, so you've had lupus for a good little while.
Yes,
And you've
yes,
been battling for a good little while. So it has taken some time to get from that mourning period. Did you go through that mourning? And I guess we all go through that mourning period
hmm
periodically from time to time, especially like when we get sick, when we get the boils, when we get the sores.
yeah.
When you go through those mourning periods, of being angry, sad, and just like trying to bargain your way out of it, you know what I mean? How do you handle that?
Well, honestly, me, I'm just like a hot mess. I'm just gonna
We all are.
I'm gonna be 100 with you guys. I'm like a hot mess because I have my moments where I just wake up and I'm crying to my boyfriend, just crying and just like I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm just so tired. Like I'm just, like when this is gonna stop? Like I want to be normal. I just want to go a week with no medicine. I want to
Right.
go with no, I want to be normal. I just go with, just into this like rage. But I can say I handle it kind of well because I just try to keep myself focused. So I feel like I
Mhm.
keep myself focused. I kind of don't have that much time to focus on like the little nits and cranny and all the little small things. But I do have a lot of like depressed moments because of lupus. I have 2 hip replacements. So I have, some type of, I have pain all the time, like in my hips and and I also work as well. So, it's just it's really hard. I call my mother all the time. She knows. I call her randomly just crying, or she'll hear it in my voice, like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm just like, "Mom, I'm tired."
Right, yeah.
Be normal. And she's like, "I understand. Like, I don't know what you're going through, but I can listen, and I can just try to help you."
Yeah.
Research. My mother is like the research queen. So yeah, so she tried to help me as much as possible. And it's just like I could be a hot mess, but I'm glad everybody accepts me for who I am. They know I'm just going through that moment. Cause then when I'm out of it, I'm like, let's go, turn up. I'm a happy person, like to have fun.
Yeah, and that's important, it's important to have a good attitude and to have the focus off of what the disease has done to you or is doing to you, and really get to that point of acceptance where you can say, look, it is what it is. I'm
Yeah.
going through this moment. Let me go through it and let it go.
Mhm.
So, who besides your mom, who's your biggest support system?
My boyfriend.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, he's with me every single day through it all. Like I mean through it all. And he deal with my random throwing up. He deal with my like random going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, me waking up in the middle of the night, just like everything. To the point where when we go out the country or out the state or whatever, he noticed little things before it happened.
Mm.
Because he know automatically, or like if I look like he go run and get a bag. It's like I'm about to and I can't hold it. So yeah, like he's with me through it all in the hospital, and he also learned a lot as well because he had to learn.
Mhm.
Yeah, I be in pain. Yeah, he's scared. But him going like this and like, doctor, this is that give me anxiety. And it's like it makes the whole situation worse. Now I'm stressing. So he learned, and he learned a lot over the course of the years how to, like, help me, and like help me with my
Yeah.
anxiety or my depression, or like with my pain and at the hospital throwing up. So yeah, it's definitely my boyfriend though.
That's important. That's important to have that, especially just one person. Even if it's
Yeah.
just one person, it could be your mom, it could be your boyfriend, it could be anybody. But that support system and someone who can advocate for you when you can't advocate for yourself is amazing.
Yes, and it's just like, yeah, even though he's there for me like every day, like I have like family that help me, but being that I basically dropped everything in New York and
Hmm.
came out here, it literally just became me and him, me and him through it all. Like, shelter, being homeless, all of that. That was just like a lot.
And look at you now. I mean, you are doing it. You are, you know what I'm saying? You are doing what you need to do. And that's what it takes. I find that so many lupus words are so strong. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just strong with dealing with lupus, it's just in life in general.
Yep.
Life just a bad hand
They
sometimes.
they thing where we have to learn how to push, because it's just like we can choose to just bury ourselves in the corner and be
Right.
in pain, but it's just like we have life to live, we have things to do, we got people to take care of, job,
Right.
and apartments, so we got to keep pushing. So it's like a everyday struggle. So like when these other little struggles come in, we just like, that's a piece of cake. I done been in the hospital with a kidney biopsy, so it's just like, that's why I feel like we really warriors.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that. That's the truth. Someone on Instagram asked, who is this? This is Buttercup 708. Have you ever been through a remission period? I don't really like to call it remission. I like to call it a quieting or quiescence of
Yeah,
lupus, because remission makes people think about cancer, and it's nothing like
yeah,
cancer.
yeah.
But have you ever had a quieting of lupus?
Yes, and that was like the best moment ever, because like I could say it was like for a good 2 to 3 years. I went in remission. I didn't have no symptoms. I was on the lowest dose of prednisone that I ever been on, and I was on that. I wasn't getting sick where they had to up it one time, go back down, wean me down. I was on 2.5 for like a long time, and that was the lowest that I ever got. So yeah, like that was like for 3 to 4 years, and that was the best time. My skin was just looking like, so nice, just everything, and I wasn't in pain. I felt like I was normal a little bit,
Hmm.
so yeah, but it was just the best. I honestly, I love remission. You could call it remission. Call it.
I do too. I do too. Anytime, any 5 minutes of it
Yes, no.
is great. Alyssa says, I was diagnosed at 14 and lupus did take over, and I never finished high school or graduated. I got pregnant, and that is what brought it out. That stress of pregnancy definitely can bring it out. But you know what, Alyssa, you are just as strong as you can be, and you're doing well considering everything that you've been through.
Because we know you've been through a lot. We all have.
Exactly, exactly. Another person on Instagram said, I've prayed for 28 years for something that is not a drug. I found them less pain and inflammation, fewer and less painful headaches, and I have more hours of energy. So that's good.
Yeah.
What medications are you actually on?
So right now I'm still taking the prednisone and steroid. They just recently started me on Belensta. Belensta is like a self-injection. So I do that every week, every Friday. And I take Plaquenil, the hydrochloroquine, yeah, that. And what else? And they want like the normal calcium, and then my side medicine for my mental health, like for my anxiety, I take Ativan. So but I done been through so many different medicines, like trying it out, like like methotrexate and like
Mm.
Ativan. Like I forgot what it's called. Oh my god, I just went blank, but I forgot the name of the medicine. But Amarin.
Okay.
Yeah, like I try all types of medicine, self-set, but these ones that I've been on right now is like the ones that actually been working for me.
Yeah. That's the Benlysta. How long have you been on Benlysta? I'm on Benlysta as well, but I do infusions.
Oh, yeah, and I did see that where it asks infusions or the injections, and I've been on it for it's about to be 3 to 4 months. Yeah, like 3 to 4 months. I just started it.
Okay, awesome.
I'm actually doing fine. I actually like it. It's just that I'm so kind of frustrated because right now this is where my skin is all bubbling up. So it's like I feel good, but then I go in the mirror and it's just like, do I really? It's just like hello. So I'm just like, yeah, it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. Now, when you get the boils and stuff, what do they do for your boils and things of that nature? Any
Um,
type of lupus lesions? How do they handle that for you?
for that boil, they drained it. They drained it because that's how big it was. So they drained it, and then I think they put me on a catheter because honestly, once that happened, my mother took me to the hospital, and that's when I lost my memory. And then everything I know is what I was told. So and then that's when I know when I got up, I had a catheter, and then I was in ICU because I didn't remember stuff for like I think like a week or a couple like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And yeah, and then after a while I started to like because they kept asking me like who's the president, what's today's date, like stuff like that, just to see am I aware. But I just was getting frustrated to the point where I just stopped answering because I didn't know, and I knew I didn't know. So just to keep blurring out answers that I know is not right, I was
Right.
just frustrating. But eventually, they sent me to a regular room, and that was that. So they just drained it, and that was it, and put
Right.
me on prednisone. That's like the answer to everything.
Yeah. Prednisone is like it's like a blessing and a curse.
It is because that's the reason why I got my two hip replacements was because of the steroids. I had AVN and one leg and my left leg, and then I had to get a hip replacement. And then by me putting so much weight on my right leg, when I got to California, I had to get my other leg replaced as well because both of them was broke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you walking around like the bionic woman.
Okay. And I make it happen.
Long as you can walk, right? You can walk,
Yeah.
you can run, you good.
Was that limp, and then every time I was walking, it felt like it was scraping, like in the ball thing you got in your hip. So I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Now I'm over here doing everything like everybody else. My father used to call me robot woman, so I'm just like, it is what it is. So
I'll be robot woman as long as I'm alive.
that's what I said. Because now I'm able to squat, twerk, and pop a squat or whatever else you want me to do.
I love it. I love your energy. Your energy is
Thank
very infectious. I love it. I love it. We
you.
have to keep the humor because if we didn't, we would just cry all day.
Yes, I know I will. Yes, it's
Yeah.
true.
So I know you stated that you have anxiety. A lot of lupus warriors deal with the anxiety and, just not thinking of what happens and what has happened and what can happen in the future. Does your medicine help you, or do you also have to couple that with therapy?
Well, I also have to get therapy as well because yeah, my the lupus do make my anxiety worse, I can say, because like you just sit and think, especially when you get a certain pain. Like for example, like the other day my shoulder got numb, and because I feel like so much people, probably not everybody, but so many people is having like strokes and stuff like that. So I'm just like my arm got numb, and I'm just sitting there like, and all these thoughts is running through my head, and I'm just like, what if, and I'm here by myself. So I'm like, what if I'm having like a stroke and I don't even know? So all these, and I'm starting to panic, and then I feel like my heart racing and all this. So it's just like I take my Ativan, it helps because it helps me like kind of like stop thinking. But then I also be having to talk to my therapist because I have so much things that go through my mind because nobody understands. Like I have family members and people that support me like 100%, but they don't really know what I go through, and they just thinking that, wait, you just cleaned the whole house, went outside, went there, and you talking about you in pain? Yes, this is what we got to do.
Right? It's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
You could be up one moment and down the next.
Yes, and that's just how it is. Like for instance, or whatever, I was like this morning, I was sitting down talking to my boyfriend. I took one sip of water, and I just like looked around, and I just ran to the kitchen like the exorcist, and then but he's already used to it. Anybody else, they'd be looking like, "Well, what's wrong with you?" And now she got COVID, so it's just like, hello, so it's a lot, and so I do need to talk to my therapist because I got a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's normal to have those type of issues, you know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to fight for your life every single day. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's hard to tell people that I have pain every single day.
all day, every day, and I just make it happen. Like, just keep pushing.
Yeah. And that's the best thing that you can ever do is just to keep pushing and keep pushing. Elise, I think I said her name right. Said, "Hey ladies, diagnosed 16 years ago. It's a battle, but I work hard between detoxing and eating more greens. I do have to take meds, prednisone and Plaquenil from time to time, and the heat is beyond in New York City. I know that's right. When
Hmm.
lesions have showed up, I use oatmeal and colloidal silver, and it cleared up the lesions, just sharing for the loopies." Awesome, awesome,
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got, it's hard to eat well.
Hmm.
But we do know that the way you eat can cause you flares or stop the flares. So
Hmm.
that's definitely an important point. Elisa, whew, yeah, y'all have the same names. You're killing me. How do you ladies feel about the COVID vaccine? Have any of you got it? Have you received the COVID vaccine?
No, I have not got it because, like I said, I'm over here kind of scared, but everybody just like, it's scarier getting COVID. But I understand that, but I be just like, let me just stay in my house. How about I just solve all problems and just don't go outside? So that's why, but I am scared because all the other things I'm hearing, and on top of our normal side effect that we go through every day, and then to have some extra, we never know. It might be like a punch in the gut. I don't know. And I'm just like, any
Right.
thing, we be trying to run from it. It's like we don't. Mm-mm.
That's the truth. I actually did get the COVID vaccine because I figured the benefits outweigh anything that it might do to me.
Yeah, that's what my doctor told me.
Yeah, and I didn't have to stop any of my medications. If you were to get it, you would have to stop your prednisone because it modifies you too much. But depending on what your medications are, I would say, Elisa, talk to your doctor about it and really have a good conversation with him or her and ask them what are the benefits for you getting it and what are the cons, what are the pros and cons of getting the shot, and just make sure you have a real good conversation with your doctor and make sure he's listening to you. Now, I know you moved from New York to California.
Hmm.
Was it hard for you to find a doctor that would hear you and understand what you're going through with your lupus?
Yeah, yeah, because when I first got here, I was just more so knowing that I should have got checked first. I was more so in survival mode. So it was just like, you in a different state and there's no family out here. You have lupus, but you need to like, so I was in like survival mode. So I had to like try to find insurance. And then I got a primary care doctor. Then I had to wait to, because when you with them specialists, they take forever for your first appointment. So when she finally referred me to the rheumatologist, I got an appointment. It was like 2 or 3 months later. And then I had to go through some stuff because they wanted me to take blood tests to make sure I had lupus. So I had to like wait for my blood work to come back and all this stuff. And then once all that came back and they saw I had lupus, now I'm finally, so it took me about a year, I could say. It took me a year,
Wow.
like all my doctors and everything in place.
Wow. So that was a long time not to go with certain medications and
And I was getting it from my primary care doctor, and she was really pushing for me to get to my rheumatologist because she's like, certain medicines my rheumatologist should be giving me. So, but
right,
she was just being, because she knew my situation, she was giving me my medicine for the time being. So I
right.
was like, and that's when I was in remission. That's why I said, thank God. But now I'm out of it.
Yeah,
So
because if you weren't, you would have been,
yes, that's what I'm saying. It's just, and then,
oh,
and also while I was going through all of that, I went to the hospital. I got sick, and the hospitals out here was called Hollywood Presbyterian. That hospital, basically, I was still throwing up, and I was sick, and they still discharged me, and they told me there's nothing else they can do for me. And so I went to Cedar Sinai, and I got like a second opinion, and they said you got here just in time, like your kidneys was failing.
wow.
So still to this day, like the shelter I was in, they told me that that's a lawsuit. That and they was like, no matter how long it's been, you can still, if you remember you got all that stuff, you just give them medical release form where they can go check themselves when you was there. They discharged me and told me there's nothing else we can do for you. You just throwing up. You got to just go home. Try
Mm.
not to eat too much spicy and dairy, all this stuff. Then I was like, it's not right. I've never been discharged and still throwing up. And I went to see the Sinai, and I'm like literally bent over. And they was like, oh no, they was like, yeah, your room is ready upstairs, and you got here just in time. And I was just like, wow.
Wow. Wow. And see, that goes back to advocating for yourself, because had you not had the wherewithal to go to a different hospital
I would
because
have
you were still feeling sick, you would have been gone.
home. I would have went back home thinking I'm fine because that's what doctor said. No spicy food, no dairy, and then I would have been home like even more pain. I couldn't even stand up straight because my whole side was just hurting so bad.
Whew. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy that you were able to advocate for yourself and you were
Yeah,
able to get that taken care of, because it has become a big problem, especially going to an ER in hospitals where
yeah.
doctors don't believe you.
And I'm like, you think I really want to be sitting up in here for no reason? Like,
Exactly. It's like, no, that it wasn't my Friday night thing that I wanted to do.
okay, because I know y'all admit me when y'all do find out that I'm telling the truth. So it's just like, you really think I want to be in here?
Right, right. Yeah. Well, definitely pursue that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because that should never have happened,
Yeah,
never have
I
happened.
about that, and I say, yeah, I was just thinking about it because I'm starting my YouTube page, and I'm just like, everybody's telling me like that's not right.
Yeah,
That
that should never happen. Should never happen. Um, cuz girly, I'm gonna say it just like that. I can relate to the anxiety that comes when weird things happen to your body because you don't know if it's a sign of something bad happening or not. That's so true.
yes, it is, and
And
you just start thinking bad automatically first because
right,
be prepared for the negative, and if something happened good, I could take that. I know I can take good stuff, but I got to be prepared for the negative, and that's all.
right. And it goes, the pain plays with your head.
Always, yes, it really do. And one time a doctor told me that like years ago in New York, he told my mom that he was like, because it gets to the point sometimes where like it's like in their head where they feel like it's like pain. Or I'm looking at him like, wait, are you telling me indirectly I'm delusional? Like, really? And then that's what he did. He just was like, the patient sometimes feel it in their head and they think that. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, we don't just think that pain is there. That pain is there, and it
Okay.
it, it
Yeah.
will tear your brain up.
Yes, it will. And make you don't want to get out of bed, don't even want to move, but you got to. So it's like, wow, yeah. They don't believe
Yeah.
it.
And then after a while, you have to after you have lupus for I think after you have lupus for a while, you learn to use your mind to control some of that pain, and not look at the pain the same all the time. Does that happen for you?
That always happens to me where I feel like certain pain is not valuable, but it's just not enough to even announce it because it's like a normal thing, or it's something like regularly to just keep on announcing like something every day, or it's just like in the morning you got to announce, I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth. Like every morning. It's just that's how regular these pains are. So it's just like certain things is like it didn't make the cut to like be told, basically. Like, it's not anything. But when you get chest pain and I feel like something is on my chest, now that's something that I be like telling my boyfriend, like, no, my chest is something not right. Like, I feel, and then, he put a pillow behind my back or something, but just not all pains I be, it's just
Right. And not everybody deserves to know what pain you're going through.
exactly. Because then some people gonna have that mindset of you really going through that pain or not. And it's just like, come on, you shouldn't have to second guess if I'm sitting here taking the time to even open up and tell you that I'm in pain,
Right.
and bad enough we don't like doing that as well because we always talking about some pain that we in or something.
Yeah. And it becomes they start thinking that you're just complaining, and some
Yeah.
stuff you just don't need to know.
Okay, exactly.
Elise said, no COVID vaccine yet. My actual rheumatologist shared with me with my systems along with the gazillion allergies I have. She wants me to wait. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, Elise. That's important because at least you have a doctor. A lot of people don't have the doctor that will stop and take the moment
Yeah.
to explain all that to them. Because of this allergy, you might not want to get it. Because of this medication, it might not even be effective. So definitely, everybody, just check with your doctor, and don't take it for granted that you shouldn't have to take it, but just make sure you just check with your doctor. Buttercup says on Instagram, people that don't know feel like you are looking for sympathy. Oh, yes, Lord.
Yep.
That
Mm-hmm.
is so true, Buttercup.
Yes.
That is very true. Very true. And then Cuz Girly said the pain is there and it is real. How hard is it to explain to someone that what you're going through is real?
It's really hard. It's really hard because like I always say, we don't always look sick. So it's like really hard because everybody is so used to the regular where you gotta look all down and out, or you gotta look like you gotta see your eyeball hanging out to, or you see, so that's what everybody's used to. So it's kind of hard for us when we come and we look regular and we just like our body feel like is like on fire. And they're looking at us like they believe us, but then having doubt. And it's just like that's when it becomes hard because it's just like wow. And then it even comes from people that's kind of close to you sometimes because and then to have you feeling like, wow, they really don't, it looked like they kind of iffy or they believe in me just because I'm like their sibling or their cousin or whatever. But yeah, it's really hard and
Yeah,
frustrating.
yeah, it can, yeah, frustrating is the perfect word for it because you get so tired of explaining stuff to people.
Yes, all the
You know,
time.
just like you said, you cleaned the house, you made the food, you took care of this, you took care of that, and then the next day, yourself that y'all probably overdid it.
Exactly.
And now I'm out for the count, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're a liar."
I know. Exactly. No, for real. And then you wake up the next morning, can't move. And they just like, "What? You was just doing all this stuff at this place yesterday." It's like we try to take advantage. If I have a little pain that I can move around with, I'm taking advantage because when have it where they want us to lay down, we gotta lay down.
Yeah,
Oh,
sometimes I think that as lupus warriors, we go over and above just
yeah.
to show ourselves, not even anybody else. We're not even thinking about anybody else, but to show ourselves, oh, I got this.
Exactly, to show like what we can do. But like despite the lupus, despite every day, we got this one way or another.
You won't stop me. That's the truth. That is so true. Let's see. Alyssa says you can explain and explain, but unless they have lupus, they will never understand. And that is true.
Nope, they will never understand at
Yeah.
all.
And then sometimes you find some people who are in remission or in a quieting of lupus that act like they don't know what you went through.
Let me bring you back to reality real quick. Like, yeah, 'cause that happens with a lot of people, and it's just like they're just so oblivious until now they out of remission. It's like now you remember.
Yeah, you know what that feel like now. It's like like being pregnant. You don't know what it feel like until you're doing it again. Goodness. Now, has your lupus medications ever interfered with your life activities?
Um, Not really. The only thing honestly that I can say that is the steroids, is the prednisone, and like with my hip replacement. Because honestly, hip replacement is my first like big surgeries, like my only my only surgeries besides like my biopsy I got with my kidneys or whatever. But that was the only thing like with the medicine and the Amarin. That medicine, it gave me little lesions all over my body. So I had like lesions all over my body and I couldn't walk. Like, I don't know, it just kind of messed up my ankles and my knees and all that stuff. I went to the hospital and it was something with the Amarin. That's why I said I don't take that no more as well. But mainly the prednisone because it broke both of my hips and now
Mhm.
the rods in my legs. Yes. But
Yeah,
for,
it takes so long to get off of that
yeah,
prednisone.
because I've been on prednisone since the day I was diagnosed. And I'm still on it to this day. So I'm like, it's been 12 years. And like, I'm just like, too
Yeah,
long.
it took me about 2 years to get off prednisone.
That's great, honestly, compared to my 12.
Yeah, so it's gonna take some time just to wean down and
Mm-hmm.
to really just get it out your system. You know.
Yes. But I don't have to depend on it. I feel like I need it because when I don't take it, I feel terrible. Oh my God. I
Yeah.
feel like pretzel. Like I'm just all shriveled up and like I don't, yeah, I feel terrible without it.
Yeah, that's how I used to feel the same way. That stuff used to give me so much energy and so
Yeah.
much power. It
And
was like,
eat
oh,
and you eat and everything without that, you don't have an appetite. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Now, how do you handle the physical demands that lupus can bring? Because since you've had two hip surgeries, whew, it's got to be hard on those days, like when it's raining. Is that part of the reason why you moved to a warmer state?
Okay, and that was like things that I had to put in my head because honestly, I moved from New York to LA, not even nothing planned. I came out here on a 2 week vacation, and then I was just like, I don't have no kids, so it's like, what can possibly happen? Let me just drop everything, and I got to really be serious about this. And yeah, and then I started like thinking about it, and I remember my doctor always telling me like Texas and like Miami and like certain places is good, but just I have to stay out of the sun. So yeah, so I thinking like this wouldn't be a bad idea because then it's also good for my lupus as well. So, just coming out here, but just New York and then out here when it rains, when it snows. But good thing LA don't snow. So, but in New York, that snow, oh my God, going to work or waking up, I tell you before it snow or before it rain. Like I can be in the bed. I'm like, is it raining? I open the windows or cloudy, everything outside. So yeah, the rain and the snow, just the weather changes. Even when it's going from cold to hot, my body is just oh man, it's terrible. And like my
Yeah.
whole body, I'm or walking like an old lady. Is yeah.
Yeah. It definitely is a forecaster. It definitely is a
It is.
forecaster.
Really.
You know when it's getting ready to happen before it happens.
Yes, I feel like I'm psychic for a minute. Just,
I love it. I love it. Now, what have you learned about yourself since you've been diagnosed and dealt with this unpredictable disease? What have you learned about you?
that I'm like unstoppable. I'm just like I'm determined, I'm motivated, and I'm just I'm ready for whatever. That's what I feel like because that's how I am at work. I feel like I'm ready for whatever, like whatever you throw at me, I'm ready. No matter if I may cry, I may complain, I may have my little stuff to talk, or whatever the case may be, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna make it happen. As long as I could, because I don't, I don't want to be up here talking big stuff, because lupus could shut me down, bring it down the way I need to be. So it just, so I just want to be clear on that. So as long as I can, and if I have like a little pain, that's a regular pain and stuff that we deal with, it's like nothing could stop me. Like I said, I'm unstoppable.
I love that. I love that. That's so important. I mean, because your mindset plays a real important role as to how you fight this disease.
Yes.
So it's important to feel that way, that you're unstoppable and that no matter what lupus brings, you're going to overcome it no matter what.
Yeah, because I feel like I've done been through so much like big traumatic moments that is just like, I'm like unstoppable. Like I said, I feel like I can do it all and more. And it's just like that's why I feel like I get more respect certain places because of that. Because
Right.
they know my situation, they know how long I could be in the hospital sometimes, they know how bad it can get. But they see the things that I'm accomplishing and the things that I keep pushing and doing, being in a shelter with a wheelchair, a walker, a cane, all that stuff. And I kept going. Nothing was gonna So yeah, that's why I feel like
Yeah.
I'm cool.
A walking testimony. A
Okay.
walking testimony.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Elise says a Muran is no joke. I was
Mhm.
on it for 3 months and it was horrifying. I was hallucinating. It freaked me out. And I just started weaning myself off very rough medication. Yeah, I was on a Muran as well for a little bit,
Mhm.
but I think my body, after a while, your body just starts to reject certain things,
Mhm.
and you just have to listen to your body and let it go. Like you, I was having the boils, or I was having different like lesions that I had never gotten before with that particular drug. So I was just like, I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it anymore.
They even had to take a little biopsy of one of my lesions because they wanted to see like exactly what it was. And I still have, I have a tattoo now, but I still have the little dot there because they just took that little lesion off.
Yeah.
They just wanted to see like what it was because I got them all over my body. And I was in my house and I went to like my knees because my ankles, I couldn't even stand on them. I had to
Mhm.
call my mother, and my mother just like, oh no, we going to the emergency room. And I will never forget that day because that was when whatever Super Bowl it was, everybody was singing that black and yellow, black and yellow. That whatever year that was, that's when that happened to me.
Wow. Wow. And I believe you, because you know what? We go through so much things, like this little mark where we're at here on
Mm-hmm.
my breast. People always ask me, "Oh, you have a hickey on your breast?" No, it's where I had to remove a boil,
Mm-hmm.
and get that biopsy to make sure that it was safe, that I didn't have to have any extra stuff.
Stuff.
Yeah. People say silliness. Make you want to punch them in their mouth, but you can't
Okay.
you can't go around beating folk up.
I know, right? I know we gotta be nice. We gotta be nice.
You got to. Elisa said prednisone is no joke. I'm on 30 milligrams. Every time my doctor tapers it down, I get a really, really bad pain in my chest. Yes.
Yep.
Alyssa, it takes a while to get off of prednisone.
Yeah, and I even know like the medical term where they say that infusion of the lungs or whatever, like fusion in the lung. So sometimes when I go to the hospital, I'm like, I think I'm having fusion in my lungs, and then they just be looking at me like, I'm like, yes, that's how much I've been here.
Right. I can do your job. Let me tell you what you need to do.
Yeah, or you think I'm lying or something.
Right, right. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Taliba says, does your family get on your nerves worrying about you so much? That's an interesting question.
That's my sister.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she's in New York.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yeah, I do because that's another thing. With us having lupus, that also kind of sometimes make us feel kind of like separated from everybody, and
Yeah.
um proves the point that we're not normal, and because it's just like you look at somebody else and it's like their parent is not always on them, like drink water, do this, do this, do that, but then I got to get the treatment no matter how old I get because I have lupus, but then I got to have it back in my mind, it's all love, and they just want to make sure that I'm okay and that my health is fine and stuff like that. But yeah, family can be yeah.
I love how she's watching and she's like, let me just ask this little question.
She tried it.
That's all right. I have a 23-year-old son, and when you said that no matter how old you get, your parent is always going to ask you about what you're doing. And my son has type 1 diabetes, so I'm always on him like your parent probably was on you.
Oh yeah, you were making sure he's doing everything correct and he on.
Yeah, are you taking your sugar? What are you doing? Did you eat?
Yes, I know.
No matter how old you get, you're always your parents' child.
Yes, no, I see. Because like I said, I'm 27 and my mother all the time. And she's like, call me on FaceTime. Let me see your face. Let me see how your face look. I'm just like, okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it. My lupus vernicia. I hope I said that right, darling. My lupus started in my lungs, so I have pulmonary lupus. I am on mycophenolate, which is Celcept, 300 milligrams. So, and Celcept is a rough drug sometimes too. So, Vernicia, I hope that it works for you. I hope that it does. Let's see if anybody has anything to say on Instagram. Nope. Elise says, see, we are beautiful Lupies, and most people look at us or family members and forget we have it. Yes, because we are superwomen and we don't appear sick, but we have lupus. Lupus doesn't have us. Unfortunately, we spend more time being alone and isolated. Sometimes lupus sucks. So you can't say it no plainer than that.
Okay, I do.
Sometimes lupus just sucks. And, I guess it's hard when you're looking. I don't know what sick looks like. Do you know what sick looks like?
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Everybody just used to the normal where you actually is just like, looking kind of like out of it or you're not able to respond or I guess as I say you got to have like your eyeball hanging out to have some type of like some support sometimes. And it's just like, no, you forgot about the inside of our body,
Yeah. And I guess when people don't have it, they really can't identify, with the pain that you might be going through.
Mm-hmm.
What is your fight song? What song makes you get up and get it done?
Well, because I love music, I love dancing, I love all that. So it's always like a new song all the time. But I know I like Up from Cardi B. I know, and but one song that I can say that I will always hold with me is Turn Down for What from Little John. That's my father's favorite song. He passed away. And then if you think about it and you hear the words, it's basically saying like turn down for what? So it's just like, like I said, I'm unstoppable. So turn down for what?
I love that. I love that. And I ask that question all the time because it really shows where your mindset is, what song you're using. That's my jam.
We all know Little John. He is turned up king.
Right, exactly. Someone said any 80s dance song is her song. Elise says, I Have the Tiger. See, I love it. I
Oh, yeah.
love those type of songs, you
Mhm.
know. Fatima says, funny, I'm always on my daughter because she has sickle cell. She said the other day, what's going on with you and your lupus? And she brought me some great healthy food for the week. Isn't it great to have a good support system?
Yes,
And
yes.
sometimes our support system does become our children. you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I see, and I have kids, so it's just like, just having somebody around you 24/7. They know everything you go through, what you might need, what's going on.
Yeah. Cause Cuz Girly says she's cracking up at eyeball hanging out to be taken seriously.
That's the only way they're gonna recognize that we got something hanging off, because we going there looking just like this. They're gonna just be like, "You really in pain? Are you really?"
Right. This is crazy. It's crazy what you have to do to make people really hear you and see
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
going through. You know what I'm saying? Buttercup on Instagram says Golden by Jill Scott. Nice one.
Oh, I like Jill Scott. Yeah, she's really like inspirational.
Yeah, definitely. Elise says I love I'm Unstoppable by LaCria.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know that song as well.
You know, so it's good to have a little fight song and to really have something that can get you out of bed or just help you while you're in bed.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
definitely, because sometimes we can't get out of bed, and bed is our best friend. So we're gonna have to make it happen. Because sometimes I'm literally laying down. I got everything around me, like water. I got my phone. I got the remote. I got this. Like anything I might need for the day, I got it next to me on like a little table or something.
Yeah. You got to be prepared. You definitely got to be prepared. You
Oh yeah.
know. Slow Stitcher on Instagram. She said my kids don't think I'm really sick. We live in different states, and my husband tries. My ex left me because I was too sick. Slow Stitcher, he was a fool to leave you anyway. I'm gonna say it straight up.
No. Yes. Yes. I can vouch for that, because sometimes that's really hard as well, being in relationships, because sometimes they say the wrong things, and depending on who you with, you might get that person that you with and they making fun of you. Like you said, like, not only like younger kids, but just being in relationships, they making fun of you. They saying what you can and cannot do. After a while, they telling you like they tired of it, and like, I didn't know I signed up for this. And I'm just like, that right there, you could keep that. You could keep all that, because it's just like I said, you going to take me or you going to leave me?
Right.
Like
And if you leave me because of something you can't take, that's on you.
that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
Absolutely. Slow Stitcher, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that your husband tries at least, and let's just go for that and
Mhm.
keep that in the forefront. Tammy says, took me about a year to get off prednisone. Toughest thing is to do is learning to live without it. Yes. And she's also living with fibromyalgia. Now, do you just have lupus nephritis, SLE, or do you have another disease added on with that?
No, I just have the SLE and the lupus nephritis.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's hard, Tammy. It's hard to reteach yourself how not to live with prednisone.
Yeah, I know, because I still don't even know. Like I said, I've been taking prednisone since I was diagnosed to now, and it's just been up and down, up and down. When you go to the hospital with a big flare up or really really sick, they just give you a whole big dose of prednisone through the IV, and then now you want to eat everybody food, and I just like so. That's what they do. So I've been up and down with prednisone. I need to get off it, because they said that's the whole point of the Balinsta, is for me to eventually get off the prednisone. So
Yeah.
I,
And it will.
I was on 20, and now I weaned myself down. Now I'm on 5. So I'm almost getting back to where I was at with the 2.5, where I can just, be done.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a miracle and a curse
Yeah,
all
it
at the same time.
is. It is, because it helps so much, and then look, it break down my hips.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does break down them joints and those and your bones and oh.
Yeah.
Lesson in the curse. Elise says, what about fabrics? Do you ladies find you wear certain fabrics? For me, it's the cotton kimono. I can't I can't wear stuff like polyester and stuff like that because it does annoy my skin.
Yeah,
But
these masks. I know these masks is getting on my nerve.
oh my
These masks is really something else, because like with my face, it's like every little thing irritates my face. And like, I don't know if you guys also see, like, my face, it get irritated really quickly, and it's right where the mask is at. So it's just like, I can say with the mask, but clothes. I love all types of clothes, and you know, and I do sweat a lot. But that kind of like running my family, so I'd never really be like that makes me sweat a lot. I just be like, if it look cute, we in this.
I'm good for it, right? That is funny. What is a quote that keeps you going?
A quote.
Yeah.
Um, I know a quote. I actually have it written on my wall. So it says, "Because the moment you give up is the moment you let somebody take your place."
Mm, that's a
So,
good one.
and Kobe Bryant actually said that. So I and being living in LA, they got pictures of Kobe everywhere, and they got his like quotes everywhere. So yeah, I saw that randomly, and I just was like, and that was actually a day I was feeling down.
Mm,
So feeling like, you know, I'm just over it. Like, why do I keep going through this? I'm just over everything. And I'm just like in a lift, and we drove by, and there's like a big quote on the wall, and it's like, the moment you give up is the moment when you let somebody else win. So I'm just like, I'm winning everything. No, no, no. That's why I said unstoppable. And that's when I started getting my energy. I'm like, come on, Shiffon, you better get up. You better stop playing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's a great quote. That's a great quote. I hadn't heard it before, and that's a great quote.
yeah.
I want to be respectful of your time. We've almost been on for an hour, so I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
And that question is, what advice would you give lupus warriors coping with lupus issues and dealing with, anxiety and depression and just feeling like they're alone? What advice would you give them?
Um, just stay positive. Think positive. Whenever you feel negative or you feel down, just try to think like the opposite, and you would notice. And that's what kind of builds my courage, because when I'm feeling down, if I'm like, I can't do this, and then I start thinking like, but why I can't do this? What's really going to stop me from doing this? Or what's really, so honestly, me, I just say stay positive. Like I said in the beginning, stay true to yourself, be yourself, and you come first, because right now it's you and your lupus. Lupus is like another person. So it's you and lupus. You got to take care of y'all first, then everybody else, because like, lupus will show up like, hello, I'm here. So just stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself, everyone, please. And, just like love yourself, be healthy. Sunscreen. That's where I'm really bad with. That's something my mother always mentioned, and trying to find different name brands. But I'm really bad with that, because just putting on something extra because I have lupus is just something that plays with my mind. But yeah, I cannot say but sunscreen, because it really helps, because the sun will really make you feel so drained, so out of it. Your face will be bubbly and red and everything. So yeah, butterfly.
Awesome.
But just stay true to yourself, everyone.
Awesome. Those are great, great, great advice that you're giving. I know we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a health webinar here, and the dermatologist was telling us to look for mineral sunscreen, especially since it's
Yeah.
been warm everywhere. And if you have some mineral sunscreen, it won't have the chemicals that normal sunscreen would
Yeah,
have.
it's kind of like the chemical and the physical, like the two types of the sunscreen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so it could do. So thank you so much, Shiffon. It's been so fun talking to you, my fellow New Yorker.
Yes, New York, from the Bronx. I'm so glad I did it. I was kind of nervous, but once I start talking about lupus, what I deal with every single day, I'm like, once again, I got this. I got this.
Yeah, you're good. You did amazing.
Thank
You
you.
did amazing. Elise said this was amazing live of your story. You ladies can go to my Facebook page, Elise Murray Speaks for Lupus. She's amazing. And thank you for your obedience.
Thank
So
you.
sweet.
Thank you so
And
much.
I think she's in the Bronx as well.
Okay, ABX, you already know.
Then you have Shiffon, who's saying your energy and story are so inspiring.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
So I want to thank you for coming on, and I hope to continue to speak to you and be able
Yeah,
to tap your brain a little bit about lupus and
yes.
share more of whatever you're going through and whatever you're doing in your life beyond lupus. So thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me so much.
I'm so happy that you decided to take the leap of faith and do that. So thank you everybody for tuning in on Instagram, on Facebook, on the YouTube. We really appreciate it. Chiffon's story was amazing. You can review this particular video on YouTube, on Facebook, on our webpage at lupusandcolor.com. And make sure that you send it to a friend so someone else can hear her story and get some gleams of good stuff so that they can move past lupus. So thank you so much for everyone tuning in. And Shiffon, you have a great, great evening.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Amazing, 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 amazing story from Shiffon. From 15 years old to she's 27 now, she's just been living beyond lupus, and it is amazing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This concludes this In the Loop Lupus Live, and I hope that you will join us next week, where we will be talking to another lupus warrior, and we will be speaking with Ayla Health for some information for you all that can help you deal with your lupus situations and help you on your health course and keeping all your information in one spot. So thank you, everybody. Remember, you have lupus. Lupus does not have you. You all have a great night. Bye-bye.